evolving digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emmanuel Rose.
Welcome to another episode of Marketing in the Age of AI. Today we have an experienced marketing professional in Janet Granger, and I'm really happy to have you on the show, Janet. Thanks for taking the time to talk to me.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
All right. Well, please share a little bit about your background and how you got to this time in your career.
Sure. So I've been in marketing for over a couple of decades, which means that, I came to marketing before internet. There was marketing before internet, actually. And, then internet or interwebs, as my son likes to say.
Yeah.
And, it was clearly like, oh, this is the thing. This is the next thing. So jumped on that bandwagon hard and have been doing, digital marketing strategy ever since. I've worked at Fortune 500 companies. I've worked at small companies. For the past 8 years, I've had my own digital strategy consulting business where I work with, I've worked with agencies. I've worked with, in-house clients. I basically work with anybody who's struggling with their marketing. So.
Well, you have a really cool perspective of messaging and brand development and visuals that a lot of us don't have because of that being around before the internet. That's awesome.
Yeah, what's nice about it is it gives perspective, and it helps me to it helps me help my clients because the classic the approach to marketing that hasn't changed.
Right.
Target market, right messaging, being in front of the person, where they make their decisions. That stuff hasn't changed. What's changed is now a lot of people are online.
Right.
And so that's where you're finding them. But all the fundamentals really haven't changed. And I think that's what throws people off is the fundamentals of marketing haven't changed in 150 years.
Yeah.
It's how you do that that's changed. So.
No, I think that's a great perspective. And I agree with that. But who or what inspired you to get into and become a marketing professional and be part of the marketing team?
Oh, it was purely by accident. Purely by accident.
Oh.
I in a former life, I was going to be a history professor, and that didn't work out. I got into my PhD program, and I realized academia wasn't for me. I was all about results. I was like, when are we going to do the thing? When are we going to do the, and I realized, academia wasn't the right fit for my personality. So the first job I got afterwards was actually at Nielsen. Nielsen does the television ratings.
Yeah.
And I spent 4 years there learning all about market research. I mean, if there's a company to teach you, I had statisticians in Northbrook, Illinois, teaching me about statistics.
Right.
So I learned all about how to do, really good market research, why it's important to know market research, how to do data analytics, how to tease stories out of data. It was probably the best fundamental, education I could have gotten for marketing, so that everything that I do has that sort of marketing approach. So honestly, I realized marketing was much more my niche in terms of how exciting it was being at Nielsen for 4 years in the cable area, cable television.
Right.
And anyway, so that's how I got into it, and I've been in it ever since because I find the idea of understanding your audience and how you make your audience's life better or easier or remove their pain points, to me is the ultimate sort of like purpose, like being of service with your products and services. And so it hooked me early, and I've been doing it ever since.
I love it. Yeah, the problem solver gets the satisfaction, right, of
Yeah.
seeing the ads drive interactions. It doesn't even have to be sales necessarily, but just people being interested in saying, "Tell me more." Like that is enough of a positive reinforcement, isn't it?
Well, exactly. And it's like, that and oh, wow, that really helps.
Yeah.
Like, oh, wow, that really helps. Like, that's the ultimate high for me. You know what I
That's
mean?
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, what and how have you been triggered into looking at AI and the AI tools?
Yeah. So AI, and you and I had talked about this earlier. AI is sort of the new hot thing, right? To make all of our lives easier.
Yeah.
And so I've been playing with AI to see how it can make my life easier, how it can make my team's life easier. And it's always the younger people who are most interested and least fearful of trying new things. Now, having
Sure.
said that, you and I are not necessarily in that demographic.
No.
There are always exceptions to the rule, right? There are always people across, every different background you can imagine. However, for the most part, I have found that it's the younger people that aren't afraid to breaking anything. They just go, like, whatever their imagination, go.
Yeah.
And sort of the way I've backed into this sort of AI thing is understanding that it's one of the better ways to engage younger talent. And so doing all this marketing for the past, well over 25 years, has helped me to learn always how to deal with the younger marketing teams.
Right.
I started off in marketing. I was in my 20s. Everyone around me was in their, 20s and early 30s. We were the people doing the thing. And
Yep.
then as I got older, it was always those teams doing the thing, right?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
that's kind of how it goes. And so I've learned over time how to deal with whoever's in their 20s and early 30s doing the thing.
Yeah.
And that's evolved and changed lately.
Yeah.
And so I realized back in 2015 that I had this knack, talent, whatever you want to call it, for understanding how younger people think, how they tick, how they work, what makes them motivated, what doesn't make them motivated.
Yeah.
And, one of the things that really they love is being let loose to use technology the best way possible, finding new things, testing new things, etc. And so what I advise people now is, you don't know what to do with AI, you sick the younger people on it, let them tell you.
I love it. That's right. Yeah. Well, that's a good philosophy.
Well, because they're happy to own it, they're happy to wallow in it, they're happy to try it and fail, right?
Yeah,
Because
right.
they've been trying apps their whole lives. There is no failure to them. It's just like, well, it didn't work. I'm going to try this
Yeah,
instead. You know what I
right.
mean?
Yeah.
And so, AI is changing every single minute. Forget every single day. I
Right.
mean, every single minute, something new is happening. Something is working better. Something's not working as well. And again, younger people, they're willing to try things, something different today versus something different tomorrow.
Yeah.
Versus something different yesterday.
They actually demand it. It's like in the core of their being, they've got to have
Yes.
that differentiating. Yeah, right.
And again, you and I are making generalizations here.
Yeah,
Every time you make a generalization, there's going to be exceptions to the rule.
for sure. Yeah.
I'm just saying, as a blanket statement, if you're going to try it and you want to figure out the best way to use AI in your marketing, throw some young talent at it and see what happens. Throw your really talented tech people, no matter what their age, at it. See what happens.
Yeah.
And ask. See, here's the thing about AI. Because it's changing every single moment, you have to be testing it every single moment. You can't just go, oh, we tried that last Tuesday and that didn't work.
Right. Yeah.
You need to constantly be trying, does the copy get better if we use this app versus that app? Does the targeting get better, this app versus that app? it's one of those things where it can keep people busy all the time. And and I think that younger people who are constantly like, why are we doing it this way? Isn't there a way we could do it better? It's like, go, just
Right.
go, do the thing, here, go. I think it's the ideal match of talent and proclivity with a problem, which is how do we maximize AI?
Yeah, that's cool. Well, I mean, if we got really tactical, it's like, how do you recommend to your clients that they integrate a tool, an AI tool, into the marketing content structure, for instance?
Into the marketing content structure. That's
tactically, like how do you bring in a tool to do something very specific?
Well,
what you're recommending for clients?
Yeah, so I am constantly testing it to do all the different content creation roles. So for example, I found very early on that using AI to write a press release is like easy peasy. Like you want to do a press release, like don't even bother, just have the AI. And I know that there are going to be PR people out there going,
no, it takes a lot of secret sauce.
Yes, it does, but there are templates, and it's like you'll save yourself 50% of the work if you start with an AI tool.
That's true. Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like it's not the be all and the end all right now. I don't think it's the be all and the end all for anything, but I find it's really helpful as a place to start.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have to be testing all the different channels and tools out there to see, well, which one's better, because today this one might be better than that one. ChatGPT might be better than Copilot, but tomorrow Copilot, you know what I mean? It's like you got to be looking at all of them.
Yeah.
And I recommend that anything that involves any writing whatsoever, you try it first and see how. Just wake up in the morning every day, try the thing, see if it's better, because it's all, instead of looking at a blank piece of paper, right? It's going to give you a start. Even if you reject the whole thing, it's given you a place to start. And that in and of itself will save you time.
Interesting. And then are you finding any kind of secrets to how you're prompt writing or prompt engineering?
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, a book could be written right now about how to write a prompt, right?
Well, just give me 2 or 3 of your high level secrets.
I would say that I think of 3 ways to say the same thing and try all 3 ways.
Oh, nice.
So sometimes the app is pretty good when you ask for a tone of voice, like use an authoritative tone of voice. Right. Sometimes I'll put in a link to a previous blog post and go, write in this voice.
Yeah.
If I have a client who's got a very distinctive voice, then ChatGPT needs to know that's the tone, right? I think tone is a really hard thing to do. And if you can start off giving ChatGPT but sometimes it fails miserably. So again, this is why you need to use all of them.
Yeah.
So that's 2. I'm trying to think of another kind of like sort of fail safe. Here's what I do. Oh, I have a thing about upvoting and downvoting. I don't do it.
Okay.
I sort of feel like my job is not to teach the AI.
Right.
And I mean, I know this is like philosophically a whole different argument, but like I'll cut and paste what I like, but like I'm not doing you. It's like I get resentful when I'm like, click on all the pictures of the trucks kind of thing. Like
right.
My job is not to train your tool.
Right.
So I don't do it. And I know that's kind of a weird, but that's just me.
No, I'm with you. I use a tool called Avia, which is an aggregator that you can choose from all the GPTs, and then it's secure and encrypted, so it's not training the GPT at all. It's just getting an output.
I'm gonna have to try Avia for sure.
Yeah, Avia.ai. So I think we're aligned in that. I'm also not a big fan of interruption marketing and all the pop-ups and fill out this form and give me your mobile number, or I'm on the page trying to check out and they're giving me pop-ups trying to capture my information. Like, you guys have clearly missed the plot on this. We figured out this is a bad idea 20 years ago. Why did it make its way back, right?
Well, there's some boss somewhere going, but we need the data. It's like, yeah, it's not how you're going to get it.
Yeah. Well, so it sounds like you have a lot of experience and intuition around Gen Z. And are there any other high level recommendations you can give to us who are interacting with these people are under 28? Kind of, what are they, 12 to 28 right now, something like that?
Yes.
Yeah. What do you got for us on just high level how to work with and manage these kids? And I say kids in a very gentle way.
So, I mean, I've written books. My next book is going to be a guidebook to managing Gen Z. The most
awesome
I wrote was this one, Okay Boomer, Baby Boomer, working with millennials. I would say that I think the big aha for me, and I go into the brain science in the book, is that what people don't seem to understand is the amount of fear that happens in the workplace and how that fear is mucking up all of our interactions, all of our human relations, all of our motivations, and that fear has not been acknowledged as the biggest issue when it comes to working in teams in the workplace, but it is driving all of our decision-making processes.
Amazing.
And so I go into the brain science in the book about why and how that all happens. I mean, it was a neurologist who figured this out back in 2010. So this is still in the new kind of phase if you think about the past 15 years.
Yeah.
And just because he discovered that all of our decision-making factors are in the emotional part of our brain, and that is the nugget there.
Right.
All of our decision-making is happening in the emotional part of our brain.
Amazing.
And what does that mean for us as people, as human beings, making what we think are rational decisions? And I'm not going to get into the whole thing about why rational decisions therefore are, but the point is that we've been age bashing for generations. We've been age bashing since the Greeks. Okay, so
sure.
Thousands of years we've been age bashing.
Right.
Oh, those younger people, they don't get it. Oh, those younger people, they're not like us. Those young people are the end of civilization. Okay, since the Greeks.
I love it. Yeah.
And it's facile, it's lazy, even though it feels very true, because I could say the same thing, like, oh my God, these younger people, they don't get it. When I was growing up, when I was coming up, it's always, everything's always different, 50 years later, right?
Sure.
And so what does that mean? So it means that we need to take a really close look at who we are as senior leaders.
Yep.
What's the difference in this younger generation? And how do we get them to where they can be successful in the workplace? As Simon Sinek says, you may not like the hand you're dealt, but you've been dealt the hand. You get to play it.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And the other poker analogy is you can squeeze the cards, but that's not going to change them.
Exactly. It's a great one, actually.
Yeah,
That's a great one. So understanding how these people think, understanding how much of their lives are filled with fear, understanding as managers how much of our lives are filled with fear, and how that makes us react to them, that's all critical in terms of and if so the one takeaway I like to tell people is, okay, you want one thing, one nugget of how you can make a difference today: job descriptions.
Right.
Your job description for that person is not accurate. You're not telling them the hours you really expect them to work. Right. You're not telling them what your culture is really like, right? Yeah. How much face time? How much time do they have to be in the office? All the things. No, you're writing out a job description of what their tasks are going to be. That's why you're failing to hire the right people.
Yeah, I love it. I love where you're going with that, Janet. And I think that especially for us, like we're, in the last third of our careers, and our job now is to mentor, right? And to help to integrate the younger staff into their role as professionals. And it's not just a job. This is your profession. This is your career. And this is how professionals do it. And I love that the job description is in your interpretation is expanded into a mentoring tool rather than just an outline of task orientation, right? Which is what we were given when we came up.
Yeah, it's and it doesn't even have to be as ambitious as a mentoring tool. It could be something as simple as you'll be expected to return emails up until 7 o'clock at night.
Right. Yeah.
We will all be on Teams. You'll be expected to use Teams to reach out to everyone on your team.
With your camera on.
With your camera on.
It gets very specific. And I think that's what's fascinating about our culture and this group of people as a reflection of our culture, right? Is that they're very self-focused and that they're self-determinant in so many ways and not the highest level of EQ of what we've been trained over time, emotional intelligence. And so that has to be mentored. There's no way around it.
Yeah, and true confessions here. I didn't have the highest level of EQ when I was in my 20s, quite frankly.
No.
I had so much to learn.
Yeah.
And now that we have some of that, we get to share and bring up the next generation,
I
right?
love it. Yeah.
So that's just what it is.
Well,
right?
I'm very excited to see the new book when you have that, and I'd love to have you back and we can talk about that, because ultimately I'm a psychology nerd, and that's how I got into marketing, was through psychology. So
oh, great! I love that.
and I do have a pet project that I am working on, a book about mentoring Gen Z, and it's for the Zs, so they can read it with their parents.
Oh, that's fabulous.
And have a
We
dialogue.
so need that.
I know.
Finish it.
You finish yours and I'll finish mine.
Okay.
All right. Well, I do appreciate you coming on. How do people get in touch with you to either work with you or get your books or
Sure.
just have a conversation?
Yeah, so the book, Okay Boomer, you can just look it up on Amazon. You can download it as a PDF. You could order the paperback, Okay Boomer by Janet Granger, or go to janetgranger.com. So it's my name.com. Yep. And it's all about the talks I give about Gen Z. Again, I came at it from not the HR perspective, but from the having been a marketing executive perspective, which is, sort of a 90-degree turn. So thank you for asking.
All right, you bet. janetgranger.com, and that'll be in the show notes also. So thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have a great week.
Thanks. You too.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emmanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.